Hi everyone, welcome to part 5 of my Docker YouTube series. This is GT Code Cafe. Today we are going to look at what is Docker file. In this GitHub URL, which I will be providing in the description, I have all the documentation which I will be going through this YouTube playlist. Let's go into the README file for what is Docker file. So here we will be seeing what are all the components of a Docker file. Here we have the run command, the label, the CMD, entry point, add, copy, env, arg for arguments, expose work directory, user and volume. So now we will be looking into a simple Docker file where I will be trying to cover all the Docker syntax which I have mentioned earlier. So here we have the argument syntax which we will be providing during the runtime when the image is getting created. So here I have mentioned the image to be the Ubuntu image, and we will be using that image over here. So here we are defining an argument and we are using the argument over here. So from we'll pick the Ubuntu image for creating our Docker image and follow these steps which I have mentioned below. So now we have like an environment variable which I have set like work directory is equal to var www.html, and I'm going to run some commands which I'm going to first update the Ubuntu image, then install Apache 2 into it and install Apache utils inside our image. Now we are going to run app get clean command to clean up whatever the commands which we have executed, which will clean up the binaries inside the OS file kernel. Now we have the work directory which we are specifying where our program should currently execute. For example, like currently we have set the environment variable to be var www.html, so that will be our home directory as you can say, and expose 80, which means that it will export the port 80 to the Docker image or Docker container to the host image. Now we have the command interface, like command which we will execute to run the Apache. Here we have the high level on what all the process that happens. So argument is passed whenever we run the Docker build command. So the image gets built. So the build image command is executed. And once the image is created, the environment variables will be part of the image. And when we run the container, the environment variable comes into picture, but the arguments are not created as part of the run command, which is during the build process. So what do I mean by all this? We will be looking into it practically. So let's copy this Docker file. Let's go to our terminal. So we will create a Docker file. We paste our Docker file. So this is our Docker file. We have copied all the contents from our GitHub repository. Now we will build our image. So to build the image, this is the command that we use, docker build -t for tagging, and I'm going to tag my name as my first image, and dot means it's the current directory where my Docker file is available. So I'm going to copy this command and run it. As you can see, the image build is completed successfully. Now we can verify by running Docker images. So as you can see, we have our Docker image created and it has the tag latest. So this is our image ID, right? Now let's try to run our image. So this is the command which we will be using to run our image. So docker run -p, the port number which we specified during the Docker file. So 80 is the port number. So that is what we are trying to expose over here. And we are going to use the image name. So once we execute this, as you can see, the command what we have mentioned in the Docker file, this has executed. So what it will do is it will run whatever the file inside index.html file inside this folder, and we will be able to look into it in the we will be able to see that file in the browser. So this is coming from inside the Docker file. So this is coming from inside the Docker image. How we will be able to verify is, let me open up a new window. So now I'm going to run Docker PS. So this is the image that is running. So now I will try to get inside the image by using Docker exec -it interactively, and we'll be going inside the bash. So now we are inside the Docker image. As you can see, the host name is the same as the container ID. Now if we list, we'll be able to see the index.html. Now we do not have the Vim editor inside this Docker image. We'll try to install it. Now this is the index.html which is visible here in this page. Now we'll try to edit this. Alright, GT Code Cafe, and save it. Now if I refresh the screen, as you can see, our HTML page has been changed. Now we will be able to see how we can pass our own argument during the build command in the command line process. So first we will edit our Docker file. So as you can see here, I have removed the image name to be Ubuntu. Now we will copy the command from our GitHub page. As you can see, we are using build-argument and image name. So we are going to run this below command. As you can see, the Ubuntu image name has been passed. Similarly, we have built our own image by passing the argument through the command line interface. So the reason for this being, like, we will be able to change the image name in the runtime process, especially the image tags, so that during any automation we will be able to pass the argument and we will be able to change the Docker version. Now we are going to see how we will be able to mount a volume to our Docker image and make changes to our index.html file. So here we have the -b volume command, which we will be providing to mount the path in our system to the Docker image. So let's copy the command. So I'm going to use the temp directory to mount the path, and var www.html, and I'm going to give my first image. So as you can see, the server is up and running. Now we will go to localhost and see. So here we do not see anything. We do not see our page because we have overridden with our temp directory. Now our temp directory does not have any index.html page. That's why it's showing like that. So we will go into our temp directory and create a index.html. Cafe, and we save it. Now we go to the browser and refresh. As you can see, we are able to get the information.